Hi everyone and welcome back to some Path of Exile Heist. There was a new patch around and I have some of the easy contracts lying around that I really want to finish up. So let's run like 2 heists, talk a little bit about my thoughts on the league and how everything went so far. So yeah, let's start with heists themselves. So actually before we do that, Heist League introduced a whole shebang of problems regarding connections. I don't know what it was. It didn't matter which server I was on, I always got random disconnects, which did discourage me a little bit, not gonna lie. That wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed. Obviously, nobody likes to get disconnected and stuff, right? It didn't just happen in heists though, it happened throughout mapping as well, quite a bit. And that was when it really was getting to me, right? Other than that, the league just is not for me, guys. I am sorry, and if you are having fun with the league, that's absolutely brilliant. That is very, very cool if you like it. So don't get discouraged. If you like the league, go ahead, enjoy it. That doesn't take away the fun of Path of Exile in general for me though. And to counteract my, let's say, difficult time with heists in general, I just find them boring, to be honest. That's pretty much all that's to it. The gameplay isn't particularly interesting to me. As I said though, that is absolutely just personal preference, so don't take that as granted or anything. It's just how I feel about the league mechanic. The game itself, as I said, I still absolutely adore it. I still love to put my time into it. And yeah, as I said, I did counteract that with playing a little bit of solo self-found. I don't know, Trade League sometimes gets on my nerves a little bit, because you are depending on a bit of drop luck to get some currency going, and this time around I had a hard time. I really had a hard time, and if it was not for a buddy of mine helping me out, this build would not be at the level it is right now. So yeah, that's why we often play everybody for himself, but we are often in Discord calls, talking about the game, talking about the league, talking about our builds, telling each other what we like about them, helping each other out with the builds themselves. If we see something that we think should be changed. So it's always like a really good communication. Like, we really do care about each other's time with the game. So we try to maximize the fun for everyone, and if we can help each other, we absolutely do that, which is what you should do in a group, right? But yeah, I will show off what I mean with the items he got me after the heist showcases, I guess. So yeah, SSF was going great though, and I was rewarded with insane drop luck in solo self-found. I dropped an Exalted Orb when I was level 50, and I was like, this has to be a joke, right? This can't be the way solo self-found works. And I would absolutely have loved to drop an Exalt in Trade League, but as I said, luck simply wasn't there, which is okay. It sometimes goes like that, right? Last league I had insane drop luck and had like 7 or 8 Exalts on day 2 of the league. Yeah, so other than the missing drop luck, the league went pretty smoothly for me. I was able to push red maps quite early. I did set up my Atlas a bit wrong in the beginning though, so I had like a couple of mistakes were made, let's put it that way. I don't know, my thought process was just a bit weird when I pushed so fast, because I'm not used to it, right? I usually take my time a little bit with pushing red maps. That did come back to haunt me a little bit, but as I said, once I changed up my atlas and thought about... Well, yeah, I did put more thoughts into which watchstones, how many I should socket, where I should socket them and stuff like that. That changed a lot. That really helped me out, getting more red maps to drop again. I'm still like low on red maps, don't get me wrong, but it is... Hey, level up for my buddy, nice. Still a bit starving on maps, which is okay, I guess. I really did push quite a hefty amount in the beginning. Unfortunately, that is nothing for me. Okay, it's alright there.
Oh, I know who owns this.
Yeah, we should actually. We could equip this to somebody, I guess. Right, the jewel can go as well.
Yes.
Prepare the next heist. Level 3 engineering.
My mental gears are already
There we go.
turning.
So yeah. Let's see, did I do some chaos recipe? I did do some of it, I guess. That's not too bad. Oh, I already have this one. Okay. Fragments. And some currency. But yeah, here is what I mean. Look at my currency. I'm down to 15 chaos. Which happens. And it's okay. And I will talk about why it is as low as it is, basically. So yeah, let's do another heist. So let's jump a little bit deeper into the build, how it functions, how it was to level it, and how it was once I reached yellow maps. So leveling this build was absolutely hilariously smooth. There's no way to phrase that in a different way. It was just smooth sailing. The damage was insane. Literally insane. Which is cool, right? That is always a good sign if you enjoy the leveling process slightly more than usual. That is always a good sign for me. I absolutely do not like leveling. I don't know what it is exactly, but I just do not like it. So yeah, it went extremely well, as I said. We did get... Ooh, hey! We did get quite some progress in. We made around, I think, 100 chaos throughout leveling and white maps. And that was insane, right? So, but it was not because I had good drops, right? It was just because I farmed certain things, especially certain prophecies. All my silver coins were going around into getting like the 5-link prophecy, and that sold between 10 and 15 chaos at the start of the league, or well on like day 3 on the league even. On day 5-ish, still 10 chaos. And I mean, I took that, right? Give me a minute. So yeah, I was like, okay. Still, I made like 20, wow, like 60 chaos, I think, only with those prophecies, right? Because I found like 4 or 5 of them. Hey, fossil, sweet, I like fossils. And so yeah, that is how I got my initial burst of currency. No exalt, as I said. I was simply out of luck in getting good drops on the floor. The luck that I had, though, was on a different thing. It wasn't the drops, it was actually my crafting. I don't know what happened this league, but I had insane crafting luck, and I will show off especially one of the items once we are back in our hideout. Because, whoa god, that's a lot of enemies. And yeah, so we will talk about these items a little bit at the end. Or like once we are back in our hideout. That's the better thing to do, I guess. But yeah, the currency that I had mostly went into one single flask. That did cost me like around 65 to 70 chaos. And after that I was broke, right? So I had no business progressing my build further, and by that point I already pushed to tier 11 maps, right? I already have taken down all conquerors on Awakening level 3. So I reached Awakening level 4, which is where I'm still at Awakening level 4, right? Because now I need like tier 13 or 14 maps to actually spawn more conquerors. So yeah, I was there, and although the damage was pretty decent, my survivability was just like really bad, not gonna lie. I did not sustain anything, and it was quite hard to sit at that level and think like, oh god, I've made a terrible mistake, right? So can you give him... no. Oh? Who can I give that? He already has something, but he can have this one as well. Awesome! Quickly check. Jewel, it's not for me. Ikazaru. Ah, I don't think I've seen this ring, but... I mean, it's not that bad for leveling, I guess. But yeah, so... where was I? I wish we could store those items somewhere. Can we... I don't think you can store them in... oh, you can now! Awesome! Thank you, GGG. I was still under the impression that you cannot store stuff like that. There's some essences. That is good to see, because I need those. And you will see why in a second. Yeah, so, as I said, League is not really for me, the mechanic. I don't enjoy it. I think it is... how do I say that? It's just boring to me, to be honest. I think heists are boring. That's that's all that there is to it. So yeah, let's talk about where my friend where my friend stepped in. He was gifting me this snake pit ring, which did a lot to my damage, especially for my clear speed, right? With the projectile now is now able to fork, so that helps a lot. My currency went, as I said, into the Dying Sun Ruby Flask, which was like 65 to 70 chaos. And you have 2 additional projectiles, and both of them fork, which is insane for clear, as well as 90% increased area of effect, right? So that's really where my currency went. He bought me this ring, which was, I don't remember... I don't want to say something wrong, right? So let's check what it's worth at the moment and add a little bit to that. 10 chaos, so I would assume between 10 and 20 chaos, somewhere around these lines. Also, he was able to unveil trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill. I'm still 1 unveil away from that, so he helped me out with that. That was amazing because that automated my Cold Snap Stormbrand Frostbomb casting. Before that, I had to do that myself, and that was quite input intensive on bosses. Throughout clear, you wouldn't need it, but on bosses, you definitely need those. So I went ahead, bought a wand with a free, was it a prefix or a suffix? I don't remember now. It's a free suffix, so I went and bought this one for like 1 chaos. It also had the 25 cold dot multi on it. Obviously the good implicit of 41% increased spell damage. Everything else isn't really worth, but it doesn't matter too much. So yeah, this one he helped me out big time, and I was very grateful for that. That enabled me to focus a little bit more on getting more life and stuff and more energy shield on my other gear. Alright, Rhyme Guy's Mind Cage did drop for me 2 times actually. This is the one that rolled a bit better. And this basically gives our Cold Snap a 5-link with the socketed gems are supported by level 20 concentrated effect. So yeah, we are basically having a 5-link as a secondary damage skill. We have the 6-link here. That is still the first 6-link armor that I bought. It was like 10 or 15 chaos. And this is just our Creeping Frost 6-link. And other than that, I didn't have the currency to invest much, right? So I started like with a very bad amulet here. I invested like 7 chaos into the last oil that I needed for this anointment. Other than that, as you can see, this amulet is pretty garbage, right? The ring here, 40 cold rest, that was insane. It was the resist I needed at the time, and that just kept it so far. The shield was pretty nice, although the implicit isn't too high, right? 39% increased cold damage is pretty sweet, and fire and lightning, 35% each, that is pretty decent. Max life roll, not so much, but that's okay, right? Then I dropped the Stygian Vice, and that was item level... item... Hello? 77. Right, so that was like the one or the second good drop after the Mind Cage here. And we had a decent life roll, a decent fire resist roll, and I crafted some lightning res on it. As always, that was the one I needed, so that's what I crafted. And this jewel I found on the floor with like a little bit to int, a little bit of cold damage to spells, which helps out a little bit, and a little bit of mana regen, which is always helpful. Right, so then I had like 20 chaos lying around. Or about 15. Fingerless silk gloves on item level 70. I found those, threw some essences on it, and I received this one. I mean, 33% cold rest, not too bad. A little bit of dex, because we need dex, right? And these will be upgraded with these fingerless silk gloves here. Those are actually item level 86 with a blessed up implicit, so definitely need to craft that. So that's why I'm farming up some essences here to really get something better into this slot, right? So the base, the fingerless silk glove base did cost me, I don't know, it was very early, around 5 chaos I would assume, because I bought them very, very early on, because I knew I need this, right? I went ahead and dropped another 10 chaos on a level 86 two-turn boots, right? And this is where I had the biggest luck with essence crafting. So I threw on a cold resistance essence, received a 46% cold res roll, a 25 lightning roll, and a 25% chaos res roll, topped off with 25% movement speed and 56 max life. That's not too much, but that's okay. I blessed up the implicit as well to 12% fire and lightning res, right? So, and then I crafted the hybrid mod with increased armor, energy shield, and max life to just get a little bit more out of it. But yeah, that was a very decent roll for like 2 or 3 essences. Tier 1 cold resist roll is pretty nice to have, right? Other than that, I just rolled some flasks. This is like the life flask I always use, a Seething Divine Flask of Staunching. Quicksilver Flask, just curse removal, Silver Flask for Onslaught with poison removal, and the Mana Flask. I have Burning removal on here, just to be safe. Now we are completely immune to Chill, so here is our skill tree, so you can see what we have done. I think the closest build guide to this would be the PoE of Big Ducks. I think I copied, came to around level 75-ish, and he since updated his PoE with a non-cluster tree. I did check it, I wrote him a message to say thank you, and it was pretty much very close to what I have done. I then did change it so it was like more in line with what he has done, and that gave me a bit more survivability, because that was the thing I was lacking. But yeah, sentences, as you can see, we have done all labs, and getting the 4th lab was actually huge. Like 20% to chaos.multi was insane. That made a huge difference. The build as it is, with my items, with all the flask active, and chill on the enemies, which is pretty easy to get if you just throw a cold snap on them. Cyrus Awakening 8 DPS is just shy of 1 million. It's around 980,000. That feels very comfortable so far. As you can see, Awakening level 4. And here is the situation with maps. I'm sitting on 3 tier 11s and 1 tier 12, right? So I made a mistake when I was pushing. I basically did set up my atlas wrong, and I think I just changed stuff around. I rolled some sextants on here because I was running high tier maps in this region, just so I would be able to drop more tier 13, 14, 15 maps, right? It just takes a couple of maps until you get everything going. So yeah, I need to farm this up. No problem. I think I still need to move some of the watchstones around, just so the maps can really drop, or the maps I need drop like really consistently, right? We could do something like this, so we can get tier 11s and 12s. Yeah, that looks about right. Completion is looking not too shabby, actually. 93 out of 154. That's pretty decent for where we are at. Now, as I said, survivability was my biggest problem, and I increased my life pool from like 2.8k to 3.3, and energy shield went up to 2.3k, which is, now it feels a little bit better, it feels more comfortable. It's still not where it should be, but it is alright. It is alright. So what I have to do is just grind the atlas, get higher maps to drop, because the only league goal I've set myself was to beat Cyrus again. That's something I would like to do. Also, I failed the mastermind fight again, because, as I said, I was around 1000 EHP lower than I am right now, and that was just not worth it. Didn't do much of betrayal, to be honest, after that. And I didn't set things up, like, really, I didn't thought it through, basically, which is alright, so I definitely also need to do some Sana missions and stuff like that. But other than that, what will I do with this league moving on? I will still play on this character from time to time. It's no longer my main focus though, because I started a character in solo self-found. I did start in solo self-found Heist League, ignoring the heist mechanic completely. I just want to get a feel for solo self-found, because I think it's very interesting, and I feel like I can enjoy Path of Exile very much without depending on a certain league mechanic, right? I can still enjoy the game as it is, without worry too much about the economy or the league specific content. So yeah, that's why I did that. So I was thinking about, well, what if a league like that happens again, where I personally just do not enjoy the content they do deliver? That doesn't mean it's bad content, as I said, that is just personal preference. So I was like, I came up with the idea it would be fun to create a character in standard solo self-found and have that as a long-time project on the side. Wherever I don't feel like playing the league mechanics and stuff like that, I could hop over to standard solo self-found and work on that character, progressing that character, and I don't know, maybe make like a diary about where the character is, what I have done, which upgrades we've got, stuff like that. And it would be a huge opportunity to learn more about how do you really scale damage properly without relying on a guide. So we can come up with our own takes. I do that from time to time, that I do change up a build guide when I feel like I would like certain stuff more than other things. But I never went too deep into that, right? So yeah, I don't know, I need your feedback. Would you like to see videos in standard solo self-found? Would you like to see me having a character on the side, pushing it to like extents of the gladiator that we had last league, right? Which was able to do tier 16 maps, which was able to take down Cyrus up until Awakening level 8, where the league ended and I didn't do the fight. But yeah, it would be theoretically possible for that character to beat Cyrus on Awakening level 8 with the gear he had. So yeah, that is kind of what I would like to hear from you guys. Would you like to see videos about that? If not, that's perfectly fine, and I will just do that on the side for myself. Yeah, it's just, if you want to see it, I will focus a little bit on it to make interesting videos about the build and its progression. So yeah, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, take care. Bye.